On today's episode of You Asked, OLED or mini LED for your basement TV setup. Is the Samsung S90D still a good option? And Dolby Vision 2. Is it worth waiting to upgrade your TV? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is You Asked, the show where we answer your tech questions. If you've got something you want to know, send your question to youasked@digitaltrends.com. And don't forget to tune in to the show to see if your question has been selected. The first question comes from Summit9803, who says, I need a TV in my basement for movies, watching football and basketball, and playing video games. Should I go for OLED or mini LED? Also, how much is there a risk of burn-in with OLED? Good question, and I totally get wanting to know what you're signing up for with an OLED TV. To answer the first part, in a basement that probably doesn't get a ton of extra light that your TV is gonna have to battle with, I'm going OLED all day. In this scenario, outside of maybe price, the only advantage a mini LED TV would have is extra brightness that I just don't think you'll need a ton of. My first choice, that's probably the Goldilocks TV of just right, would be the LG C5. It's a step up from the B5, giving you a bit more brightness and punchy highlights, but it's also not gonna cost you as much as the LG flagship, the G5. And like I've said before, do your research, but unless you're putting some of these TVs that we compare side by side, you're probably not gonna think anything other than, wow, this is a gorgeous TV, especially if it's an OLED TV. The reason I went with LG is because it checks a lot of the boxes I think you'll want. It supports HDR10 and Dolby Vision, ideal for lots of movie viewing. It handles motion well for watching sports. And for video games, you've got a lot of gaming features, plus a native 144 Hz refresh rate and variable refresh rate available as well. And since this does sound like it's gonna be a media hub of a TV, 4 HDMI 2.1 ports helps as well, giving you the best connectivity options for consoles, a soundbar system, and any streaming or other external devices you may be looking at as well. The runner-up choice would probably be the Samsung S90F, though you do lose out on Dolby Vision. Samsung is still riding that HDR10 Plus train instead. As far as burn-in, I wouldn't be overly concerned as long as you're following the general advice that's out there. Not having your TV at full brightness, which I don't think you'll need to in a basement, is a good start. Most OLED TV manufacturers also have some features built in to help you take care of the panel as well. LG has a screen move option that shifts the image so the same things aren't displayed on the same pixels and burning in. There's also a setting to adjust logo brightness. So if you're watching a sports or news channel for long periods of time, it'll lower the brightness of the channel logo to take care of those pixels. Still, these are concerns for super heavy TV users that may watch a particular channel like all day long. In your case, the main thing to keep an eye on would be gaming. If you're playing sports games that have score bugs or first-person shooters or open world games with maps that live in the corner of the screen, just be aware overall. But again, as long as your screen gets a bit of a break from some of those logos and you're not leaving the TV turned on with the game paused for long periods of time or something like that, I think you'll be okay. My parents, as a lot of ours probably are heavy sports and news watchers, and their OLED TV in the living room is holding up just fine. Next up, TTT Turbo says, I was thinking about getting a Samsung S90D with Black Friday sales. Or would you suggest something better I should look at? I think it's a great idea, Turbo. That Samsung is actually the one I just referred to in the last question that my parents own and absolutely love. It gives you a lot of what the flagship S95D does, but still has the glossy screen instead of the anti-glare matte looking screen that we now see in the S95 line of TVs. The main thing to keep in mind is the panel differences for certain sizes. If you go with 55, 65, or 77 inches, you'll get the QD OLED panel, which adds a bit of brightness and color volume. With any other size, you're gonna have the WRGB OLED panel instead. It still looks great, but QD OLED would be the winner for me. Our next question comes from Martin, who says, it's been nearly a year to the day since I sent my last question to you, which surprisingly you did answer on your show. Martin, we're always happy to have them. Martin continues, I have an LG 65-inch CX, which has been a great TV, but has now developed a standby issue. So I've been looking at maybe replacing it with a Samsung S95F or the LG G5, but I recently read about Dolby Vision 2, which is being released in 2026. Do you think I should hold out for this or go for one of the above? P.S. I know Samsung doesn't support Dolby Vision, but it is a great picture. I knew these questions would come with the announcement of Dolby Vision 2, and I'm glad we're already addressing it. We also have some more information since that announcement. In the Dolby Vision 2 press release, Hisense was front and center as the first manufacturer to start developing the hardware needed to support the new format. And I think that's a great move for them to continue closing the gap with the competition. If Hisense can offer a premium HDR format that others may not, big win. Still, I figured that was just a matter of Hisense and Dolby having something worked out already that looks good for the press release. But certainly, the brands that already offer Dolby Vision in their TVs would follow suit, right? Well, by way of a Tech Radar article written by Matt Bolton, we learned that that's not necessarily the case. LG, whose high-end TVs support Dolby Vision, says they have no plans to support Dolby Vision 2. Very interesting. Samsung, to no surprise, didn't have a response on Dolby Vision 2, and Sony was kind of in the middle, saying they have been in discussion with Dolby, but don't have a clear statement to make at the time. You can go read Matt's article for more of the details. So, pair all of that information with the press release where Dolby said that, quote, content in Dolby Vision will look even more astonishing when enjoyed on a Dolby Vision 2 display, end quote. Display means we're talking hardware, and that leads me to believe that if you want Dolby Vision 2, you will need to upgrade. It just doesn't sound like it's something that can be pushed to current TVs with something like a firmware update. More on that in just a second. Anyway, sorry for all that, Martin. I'm gonna answer your question now. I just wanted to give some background to what's going on for those who may not know. Martin, you're considering the Samsung S95F and LG G5, and you mentioned that you don't mind that Samsung doesn't have Dolby Vision. Not to mention, it doesn't sound like either of those brands is gonna support Dolby Vision 2, at least not anytime soon. Given the issue that your LG CX has that sounds pretty frustrating, I'd go ahead with your upgrade if for no other reason than the S95F and G5 are outstanding TVs. That we do know. What we don't know is just how big of an upgrade Dolby Vision 2 is gonna be. Is it gonna be that noticeable? If Hisense is the first to roll it out and they don't make an OLED TV, is it worth taking a step back from OLED to mini LED just for Dolby Vision 2? These are the questions that, if I were buying, I'd want the answers to first. And it doesn't sound like you're gonna wanna wait to pull the trigger. You're an OLED guy, Martin, so go with what you know. You will love the picture on the S95F and G5. They'll both be a noticeable step up from the LG CX. If I had my pick, I'd probably go LG G5. It's really splitting hairs. I just like the idea of Dolby Vision and prefer the glossy screen finish instead of Samsung's anti-glare. But if you are dealing with reflections, maybe the Samsung is for you. I hope all that helps, and thank you again for the question, Martin. Let us know what you decide to go with. Finally, somewhat related to that last question, Sean G4886 asks in response to the Dolby Vision 2 news, is this a firmware update that should come to most newer TVs? The answer to that is a big maybe. In the press release, it was noted that Hisense will be the first with the new format thanks to the MediaTek Pentonic 800 with MirrorVision Pro PQ engine, the first silicone chip to integrate Dolby Vision 2. There are some TVs out there already with this chip, but since they pointed out that Hisense will be the first to have Dolby Vision 2 capability, it sounds like there are a few obstacles in the way, even for the TVs that already have the Pentonic 800 chip. And per the last question and answer, it doesn't sound like too many other brands are committing to Dolby Vision 2 just yet, at least not publicly. That's gonna do it for this week, guys. Don't forget to get those questions into youasked@digitaltrends.com or the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video if you found it helpful, and we'll see you next time.